Dear friends, today we are going to learn a new chapter of class 9th. The name of this chapter is French Revolution. This is the first chapter of your history textbook. Clear? So, in this very chapter, what we are going to learn? We are going to learn what is the importance of French Revolution in world history. We are going to learn what is the legacy of French Revolution, what the French Revolution has actually given to the world. Clear? Why it holds a good position in world history. Clear? So, starting the chapter, we will start this very chapter by introduction. Event of 14th July 1789. What was the event of 14th July 1789? So far as this event 14th July 1789 is concerned, this event is being considered as the outbreak of French Revolution, because after the event of 14th July 1789, the revolution started in France. Clear? So, what happened? What happened on that? How that very thing happened in France? How the French Revolution took place in France? We are going to learn all these things in this very topic. Clear? So, let me tell you, first of all, I will tell you that in France there was a city by the name of Paris. Clear? So, what in that very city, in Paris city, there was a fort by the name of Bastille Fort. Clear? The people attacked on the Bastille Fort. Why the people attacked on the Bastille Fort? So, the king ordered his troops to move into the city of France, as the situation in France was alarming at that very time. So the king Louis XVI ordered his troops to move into the city. Clear? But when the king ordered his troops to move into the city, rumors spread that the king would soon order the army to open fire upon the citizens. Clear? So the citizens, in order to defend themselves, began to search for arms and ammunition. Clear? So what they did, the people began to move towards the Bastille Fort. When they reached when they reached the Bastille Fort, the people killed the people. First of all, stormed the prison of Bastille Fort. Clear? They stormed the prison of Bastille Fort. So after storming the prison of Bastille Fort, they killed the commander of the Bastille and released all the prisoners which were imprisoned in the prison of Bastille. Clear? So after that, what the people did, they then demolished the Bastille Fort. Why they demolished the Bastille Fort? Because the Bastille Fort was hated by all people, because the people think that the Bastille Fort actually belonged to the king. Clear? So the king, the people had got a lot of hatred of that of Louis XVI, who was the king at that very time. So they attacked on the Bastille Fort, because it symbolizes the despotic power of the king. It symbolizes the autocratic power of the king. Clear? So when the fort was demolished, the people then took its stone fragments and they sold that very stone fragments in the market. Clear? So after that, we had seen that riots began to spread in Paris and in countryside and in villages, because the people were protesting against the high prices of the bread, because at that very time the situation had got worsened in France. So the people we had seen that the prices of the bread began to be rise. So the people began to protest actually the increasing prices of the bread. Clear? So after that, there is hope. I hope that you have got this topic, event of 14th July 1789. If there will be a question, what was the event of 14th July 1789? You have to write all these points. Clear? Now it is French society during the late 18th century. Before discussing the French society, let me tell you a brief introduction about Louis XVI, who was the king during the time of French Revolution. In 1774, Louis XVI became the king of France. He ascended the throne of France. Clear? So, when he ascended the throne of France, he was only 20 years at that very time. Clear? So at the age of 20 he was married to Austrian prince. The name of Austrian prince was Marie Antoinette. Clear? So when he ascended the throne, when he became the king of France, what he observed there, what he saw in France, he founded an empty treasury. The state treasury which he got, he founded that very treasury completely empty. Clear? Why the reason is for empty treasury? Clear? We will discuss that very reasons one by one. First of all, it was the main reason. It was long years of war actually drained the resources of France. Long years of war. There was a long war going on between France and Britain. Clear? So that very war has actually drained the resources of France. Clear? This became the first reason for the empty treasury of France. Number second, maintaining an extravagant court at the immense palace of Versailles. In Versailles, it was the name of a city. In Versailles, Louis XVI had built a grand palace there. So for the maintenance of that very palace, Louis XVI was taking money from the French treasury. Clear? This became another reason for the state for the empty treasury of France. Number third reason, American War of Independence. As we have seen that Britain had actually made 13 colonies in North America. So what Louis XVI did? Louis XVI actually helped the 13 American colonies to gain their independence from the Britain. Clear? So we had seen that there was a rivalry between France and Britain. So this rivalry became more sharp through American War of Independence, because France began to finance the American 13 colonies to get themselves free from the British colonialism. So this became another reason for the empty treasury. Number third, high interest on loans. As we have seen that France had time to time taken loans from so many countries, from so many people. So what they did, that many people began to charge more interest on the loans. Clear? So we had seen that what happened in France. French government was forced to spend an increasing percentage of its budget on interest payments only. Clear? Which they had taken from time to time to so many countries or from so many people. Clear? So this became another reason for the empty treasury, high interest on loans. The loans which France had taken either to finance the American War of Independence, either to finance this long years of war. Clear? Either for the maintenance of palace located at Versailles. Clear? So what the lenders did, they began to charge 10% interest on the loans. Clear? So this became another reason. Number third reason, regular expenses. Regular expenses, there for the maintenance of army, they had to spend a lot of money. For the maintenance of court, for the functioning of government offices, or for the functioning of universities, the government had to spend a lot of money. So on that very institutions, the government had to spend the money. So this became another reason for the state treasury to be empty. Clear? Number last reason, tax was paid only by the third estate, because the first and second estate, as we will see in next topic, neither the first estate nor the second estate had to pay the tax. It was only the third estate which had to pay the tax. So the tax was paid only by the third estate. So there was not a huge income from the side of the first estate or second estate. Clear? So these became the reasons for the reasons for empty treasury in France. Clear? I hope that you have got these topics. If there will be a question asked to you in the exam, what were the different reasons for empty treasury in France? You may write down these very points. Clear? Now it is French society during the late 18th century. Clear? What type of society was prevalent in France at the time of revolution? Clear? So So far as the society was concerned in France, it was a feudal society. Feudal type of society was prevalent in France during the 18th century. What was feudal? It was like a feudal system. As we have seen in feudal system, there were some powerful nobles or some landlords or some zamindars who were having large possession of land, who were having large land. Clear? So what these landlords did, they kept under themselves so many people like peasants, and through that very peasants they cultivated their lands. They got cultivated their lands, and in return of that these landlords took money from these very peasants in the form of tax or in the form of rent. This was the feudal system. This was the feudal type society prevalent in France. Clear? So next it is old regime. What was old regime? It was old. If you have to define old regime, you may define it in this way, like that: the system which was prevalent in France before 1789, prior to revolution. The system which was prevalent in France, that very system was known as old regime. Clear? Old system. Clear? Or you may define it: the society and institution of France before 1789. Clear? Or you may define it: the system which was prevalent in France before 1789. Clear? Now it is society. So far as the society was concerned, so it was a feudal type society. Clear? So the society of France was mainly divided into three classes. That three classes were known as estates. Clear? Estates. So what were these three estates in which French society was divided in late 18th century? First of all, it was first estate. First estate was that of clergies. Clear? Or clergy. Number second estate, it was that of nobility. Number third estate, it was a heterogeneous estate. It was in this very estate there comes the peasants, merchants, laborers, court officials, artisans, doctors, lawyers. It was a heterogeneous estate. Clear? So far as the first estate was concerned, which was that of clergies. Who were clergies? These were the people who were associated with the church, or who were associated with the functions of the church. Clear? So far as the nobility, these happen to be the kings, these happen to be the aristocrats, these happen to be the rich people. Clear? So far as these two estates are concerned, first estate by the name of clergies and second estate by the name of nobility, they enjoyed privileges based on birth. Clear? They enjoyed so many privileges. If any person had taken birth in clergy, in the first estate, which was that of clergy, he happened to be a clergy. If any person has taken birth in nobility, that very person had to enjoy that very privileges. And he enjoyed privileges based on birth. Number second, what privilege they enjoyed? They were exempted from paying tax. No tax was imposed on the first estate or second estate. These two estates were exempted from every sort of tax. Clear? So far as the third estate was concerned, which was an amalgamation of peasants, merchants, court officials, artisans, lawyers, doctors, laborers, clear, servants. So they were forced to pay tax. These two estates, this very estate, third estate in the form of peasants, they were forced to pay tax. This was a lone estate which had to pay the tax. Clear? As we have earlier seen, tax was paid only by the third estate. Only the third estate was the estate which had to pay the tax. Clear? Number second, to pay taxes, they had to pay the taxes. Clear? And they had to offer services. They had to offer services to the Lord. I mean to say, to work in the house of the Lord, or to work in the fields of the Lord, or to serve in the army, or to participate in building roads. Any such services they had to offer at any time. Clear? To the people of first estate or to the people of second estate. Clear? So far as the taxes are concerned, there were two types of taxes. Number first, it was tithes. Number second, it was tally. What was tithe? Tithe is tax. It was a tax imposed or levied by the church on the people of third estate, because the third estate was the only estate which had to pay the tax. Clear? So tithes was a tax which was imposed or levied by the church on the people of third estate. Clear? So it was equal to 1/10 of the total produce. 1/10 of the total produce. Clear? So if there will be 100 quintals of agricultural produce before a peasant, So how much that total produce is equal to 100 quintals. So how much that peasant had to pay in the form of tithes tax? He had to pay 10 quintals. Clear? 10 quintals. That was equal to 1/10 of the total produce. Clear? Number second, that is tally. Tally was a tax to be paid directly to the state. It was a tax imposed by the government, imposed by the state on the people of third estate. So these two the types of taxes were there. So French society was divided into these three estates, first, second and third estate. We have seen these. So I hope that you have got these topics, event of 14th July 1789 and reasons for MPT tragedy in France, and number third, French society during late 18th century. Clear? Next topic we will discuss it in next video. If you have any query, you may ask me at any time. Thank you.